All right, guys, today I'm here to talk about instructional videos. All right, now, instructional videos are a very in thing right now. They've been around for a while, but back in the day, you had to buy the DVD at a very expensive price, and and it was hard to share with your friends. Now with BJJFANATICS and other streaming things, that you can download an instructional and watch it immediately. And everyone I know is doing it. Many of my students watch instructionals. I myself watch them. That being said, I think they're a good thing. I think that it's best to have a little bit of experience before you start purchasing instructionals. I've spent quite a bit of money on them over the years, but I have benefited from them, right? When I started in 2003, about 6 months in, I bought like a Frank Shamrock 3 DVD set, and I was able to use some of the stuff on there and implement it immediately because I had a base. I had been training for 6 months. I had a somewhat solid grasp of the fundamentals, and all the stuff you showed was super fundamental. Some of it I hadn't seen yet, and I was able to add it to my game, and it benefited me. You don't want to buy an inverted guard instructional when you've been training jiu-jitsu for 2 weeks. I don't really think it's going to help you. But I think instructionals overall, you're looking at someone else's viewpoint on a martial arts technique. And we get kind of set in the way that we do them and how we learn them and how we perform them. And we think that that's the only way. It's like the only road that leads to Rome, and it's not. I'm very open-minded. That's why I go to so many seminars. That's why I host so many seminars here. So instructional videos have a huge benefit to whoever watches them. The only thing I will say is, get some experience under your belt before you start watching them. Come to class for at least a couple of months, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months. And everyone learns differently. I've always been a fast learner, but it was like 6, 7 months in before I bought that Frank Shamrock set, right? And I still have it at home. I still even go revisit it back in the day because a lot of the basic fundamental techniques he shows still hold up on a practical level. Right. Now, to be honest, I have a biased opinion when it comes to instructionals because I do have a couple that are on the market. Right. I do have both DVD on half guard, and then I have a downloaded one on BJJFANATICS. And I'm very honored to have done those. And those have benefited people. One of the best things that's happened to me in terms of having instructionals of my own out there is I've had people from Canada, other parts of the world message me on Instagram. They find me and they're like, "Hey, man, I bought your instructional. I've been using it on everyone." And then they start playing with it and they start sending me techniques that they're doing from that position that I hadn't done before. So I'm learning from people who learn from me. And that's like the whole point of martial arts, not just jiu-jitsu, is to keep learning over and over, right? And I have wrestling instructionals, judo, boxing, Muay Thai, everything, because I'm a martial artist. And there's just a lot of knowledge out there, and it's so easily accessible now when it wasn't 10 or 12 years ago, right? Mike Tyson has instructionals on how he boxes out there. Why not? Nothing's going to beat learning from someone in person because you can ask questions, right? Like I talk about it a lot, but I had Dean Lister here for a seminar last year, and it was great to ask questions. I have all his instructionals because he's one of my favorite grapplers, and everything he had shown here I had seen before, but it is different when he's here and he's showing me the little nuanced details that you're just not going to get off an instructional. So nothing beats in-person instruction. But there is a huge benefit to having instructionals and buying them. Now, that being said, how I watch them might be different from how other people watch them. Even in 2026, with all the technology we have and everything, I still have a notepad and a pen right there when I watch it. Whether I watch it on my phone or I watch it on the PC at home because it's a bigger screen, or on my tablet, I have a notepad there. And I watch it like a movie, and I hit play and I watch a technique, and sometimes I'll go through a whole 45-minute section of an instructional and there's nothing really that stood out to me, and I watch it and I kind of just file it away and I go on to the next one. But sometimes I see a technique and I pause it, I write down the details, and as detailed as I can, because writing it down stimulates you. It's proven to be more effective. I write stuff down, it helps you retain it better, and then I'll go play it again. And sometimes I'll play the whole instructional like a movie for however long it is, an hour, and then I'll go back to like technique 7, technique 8. I like those, and I'll watch those again. And a lot of times if I see a technique that really I think is going to fit my game, because I have a very specific game that I play in my takedowns and in my striking and in my ground. If I see something that I think is going to benefit me and that I think will work for me, I'm going to kind of go back, and even though I've already taken notes, I'm probably going to replay it again, because those are reps too. Just like training on the mat and doing reps in here, watching it over and over, you're seeing it, you're stimulating neural pathways. It's not the same, but you still get a benefit from it. So, and I've used stuff that I've seen on instructionals. I have open mats here on the weekends. I've had black belts come in and I catch a black belt with something that I was experimenting with. And vice versa. Some of my students will come in and do a new sweep and they're like, "Oh, I got the latest Craig Jones instructional." So, it's definitely a benefit to have it. You just need to know how to watch them. And, you guys might not watch them the way I do. I like to study it and just take notes. And But sometimes I'll just watch it like a movie and go back. You know, it depends where my mood is, how much time I have that day, and all that. So instructionals are definitely beneficial. I just think you need to establish a base first, but they can definitely elevate your game and make you a better martial artist overall.